start simple, because you're going to want this program to be with you for several years, and you're going to want to continue getting value from it, whether that's improved retention or more referrals or increased spends. And so if you start simple and you can add those components over time, that's going to really help you keep that momentum and keep the value with the program.
Welcome to episode 242 of the industry's leading business podcast for fitness owners and managers. Each week we invite business experts, coaches, authors and owners from around the world to share their expert advice with you, the FBP family. This month's interviews are brought to you by our podcast partner, OneFitStop. OneFitStop provides scheduling, client management, programming and payment collection tools that will set your business up for success. To find out more, go to onefitstop.com or click on the link in today's show notes. Hi everyone and welcome along to the show. My special guest for today is Shanil Saha, the founder and CEO of Perkfil. Perkfil is the largest rewards platform for the fitness industry. Shanil started the company to help small to medium businesses compete with large companies by giving them a powerful yet affordable program. And he now works with companies of all sizes, primarily within the fitness industry. Prior to founding Perkfil, Shanil held product management positions at Yahoo and LinkedIn. During my catch up with Shanil this week, we chatted about what to expect when launching a loyalty program, how to make your program stand out from the crowd, and he shares tips for launching a successful loyalty program. We are about to get started, but first I want to say a huge thank you to this month's premier podcast partner. OneFitStop's scheduling, client management, programming and payment collection tools will set your business up for success. To find out more, go to onefitstop.com. And now it's time for this week's show with my special guest, Shanil Saha. Shanil, we are absolutely thrilled that you're joining us on the show today. Welcome to the Fitness Business Podcast.
I'm happy to be here. Excited.
Now, let's kick things off with the basics. Can you define for us the term loyalty program?
For us, the way we think about loyalty programs is really taking advantage of gamification and applying that to your business. And we're most familiar, our platform is a point-based system, but it can take many forms. But I think you want to use that gamification to drive ultimately revenue for your business. And that typically translates into three key things: improving retention, getting your members to refer their friends to your business, and then also increasing that revenue per member, whether that's, getting them to upgrade to a higher tier maybe, or getting them to buy personal training or other services and products you may offer. So, at the end of the day, gamification to drive your business forward.
So here's an interesting stat, Shanil. I believe that there was a study done in 2018 that said 82% of US adults say that they're loyal to brands. But the funny thing is, not a huge number of fitness businesses have a loyalty program. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, so, I think one of the big reasons is that fitness is sort of mostly a membership-based, kind of business model. And so a lot of brands sort of feel insulated from competition because of that. They're not fighting for every purchase every day like a restaurant might. And so, they may feel that a loyalty program isn't as applicable to them. Another reason I think is it's a little more challenging to measure the return on investment, I think, of a loyalty program in the fitness industry because, that cancellation that might happen is sort of downstream. So you launch a program today, you may not see the fruits of that program for 6, 7, 8, 9 months out when retention begins to improve. So, and then even when you do see retention improving, is it because of the loyalty program or perhaps, you have better equipment at your facility, perhaps the competitor closed down? What's really driving that improvement in your business? So I think for those reasons, loyalty programs haven't been as adopted in the fitness industry compared to some others. But I do think that's beginning to change as we see the fitness industry becoming so competitive. I mean, so many different brands growing so fast, a lot of money coming into the industry. So people are really competing for consumers. So I think that is beginning to change. And I think, there's going to be new technologies coming around the corner that are going to make it easier for fitness businesses to measure that return on investment in a better way than they've been able to in the past. More like a medical experiment, sort of A/B testing the program and really getting some statistical confidence on what impact it had downstream.
I definitely want to talk to you a little bit more about that later on, Shanil. But first, for anyone that's listening at the moment and considering launching a loyalty program within their club, give us a little bit of insight into what results they might expect from running that.
Yeah, so the typical things that we see, and we've done a lot of case studies with several businesses, certainly increased engagement, whether that's coming into the club more often. One of the big ones that's easiest to measure from a return on investment perspective is an uptick in referrals. Referrals, we think, are an absolute critical part of the program. If you have strong engagement with the program, you might as well also make one of the highest earning rewards in that program a referral, because that's so valuable to your business. So we typically see that as sort of almost core to the program. And then, an uptick in ancillary service purchases, whether that's personal training or if you have different tiers of membership, people upgrading their membership more often. And then finally, revenue, of course, is where all this leads. So, you should see increased revenue as a result of the program as well.
Three great factors there, Shanil. Now, according to a 2017 study, the average consumer is involved in 14 different loyalty programs. And you mentioned before about, the gym environment, the fitness environment is getting more competitive. So if we do go down that path, or if we do currently have a loyalty program, take us through some ways that we can ensure that our business stands out from the rest.
Sure. And I think there's still an opportunity in fitness to stand out here because, like we discussed before, loyalty programs are less adopted in the fitness industry, although that is changing. Most of those 14 are probably airline, hotel, restaurant, and fitness, is beginning to grow there. I think one key thing you can do to make sure it stands out is to integrate it to all aspects of the experience at the facility. So obviously, if you offer classes, people earn points for those. If you offer retail, people can earn points when they buy things. If you do something like MyZone or FitMetrics and have a heart rate monitor, those effort points can translate into actual real value for that customer. Even your Net Promoter Score system, we have an integration with a company called Listen360 as an example. So people can earn points when they complete that Net Promoter Score survey, and they've seen huge upticks in survey completions as a result. So the more you can kind of integrate it into the entire member experience, the better and bigger impact it's going to have on your business. A second thing that we've noticed, so, when we started off, APIs were just sort of coming into the fitness industry. Most of the membership management systems didn't even have an API when we started. And, those APIs were not exactly the fastest necessarily. And so we usually synced with those systems on a daily basis. So you would work out, and then the next day you would earn your points for that workout. Well, as the industry has matured technologically, and now, of course, most of the systems have an API that we can access. Those APIs are stronger, better, faster. We are now beginning to sync with their systems every 5 minutes. So you go in, you work out, boom, your points are there in your account right away. And we've seen that really have a big impact on engagement with the programs. People sort of expect now that real-time, sort of gratification. And so being able to do that has really helped. And then go ahead, Chantal.
No, I was just going to say, I can understand why that is such an important factor, because you're right. We are so accustomed now to getting feedback or getting responses, and we are so impatient, aren't we, in life in general? So to have that feedback within such a quick space of time, I can understand why that's so valuable.
Yes, it's really made a difference to our business. And so, we're kind of over time moving all of our systems to that real-time model because it's so impactful and that's what people want. The last thing I would mention is, I think every business, when you launch something, you sort of change your focus to other programs or ideas, but keeping your team educated and keeping your members marketed to with that loyalty program, I think is another great way to stand out from the competition because, other companies, they don't do that so well all the time. And so if you really stay disciplined, I think that can be a big competitive advantage for you.
Do you generally find, Chanel, that when a fitness business implements Perkville or then their loyalty program, do you put like a project manager in charge within? Do you have someone who's a bit of a champion for the business to help the rollout?
I think that depends on the size of the business. So in some cases, if it's a small studio or health club, it's the owner often who's, sort of spearheading the effort. But if it's a multi-location chain, then yes, often that person is in marketing and, they're responsible for the program. And, if they're very large, then we often have even biweekly calls every other week with them on sort of the status and promotions they're running with regards to it. So it's great to have a point person that understands the ins and outs of the program and can help train the staff and answer their questions and also run promotions, because those are also very key to keeping members engaged, changing it up, trying new things, promoting different things within the program. That's also critical to its success.
Chanel, in a fitness business that I worked in a few years ago, they launched an internal loyalty program. So it's just something that the team had put together themselves. And I would say that in the first couple of months, everyone was super excited. Everyone got on board. It was promoted throughout the facility. The members knew about it. But kind of as the time went on, the excitement level went down. There wasn't that momentum that it had during launch. In your experience, how would you say that we can actually maintain that kind of initial launch level of excitement and enthusiasm over a long period of time?
One of the big things I think is to start really simple. So you might have 10 ideas and 10 things you want to do, but don't do all those from day one. Start really simple with the bare bones program and, get the value from that and then add those things incrementally over time. So there's something new to promote and talk to your members about, every few months. That's probably one of the biggest things that we see as a mistake is people start way too complicated. Members get confused because, they're just getting introduced to this program and it has way too many ways to earn points and redeem points. And so keeping it simple from the beginning, I think, is key. Another great way is to run promotions. So, every other month, this month it's triple points on referrals. Next month it's triple points on gym check-ins. The month after that, it's triple points on retail purchases. So you can sort of, promote those things and keep your members engaged by sending updated communications on what that month's promotion is. That's a great way to keep that momentum going. And then a third way is to introduce new rewards. So, maybe you start with 3 or 4 rewards, add new rewards over time. People love to see new things they can redeem their points for. You can also partner up with local businesses that may be complementary to you. We see that happen quite a bit, actually, because, those businesses, for them, if they offer you sort of a free service or a heavily discounted service that you can add to your program, that's something that's going to benefit them. It's sort of free marketing for them. And for you, it's a great thing that you can offer your members at no cost. So it's another great way to keep that momentum up.
Yeah, they're 3 great ways. So keeping it simple to start, running promotion and offering new rewards over a period of time. So Chanel, you don't need to name the business, but I'd love to hear a bit of a case study of a fitness business that you've worked with that has just done a really thorough and successful job of launching a loyalty program. And perhaps you can step us through some components. Obviously, there are 3 great components, but any additional components that they did to make it such a success?
I think one of the biggest sort of variables in the program's success is sort of the buy-in from the executive team at the business. And so I think really defining upfront sort of how you're going to measure the success of the program early on is key, because if you can show, with numbers that the program works, that's going to get the buy-in that's needed to sustain that program over time. So we worked with actually a fairly large chain, and what we did with them is they had several hundred locations. What we did with them is we took a handful of locations and we launched the program in those locations. They did a fantastic job training the team, marketing the program to their members, both physically marketing it, with posters in the studios, as well as digitally marketing it through email. And what we did is we got a set of other locations that were very comparable to the locations where we launched the program. And we tracked the revenue growth between those two cohorts over time. And what we saw was significant revenue growth in the locations that launched the program and basically flatline revenue growth on the other locations that did not launch the program. And that was really powerful because it demonstrated to the team the value of the program and, kept the momentum going moving forward. So I think that's one key thing. And it doesn't have to be, not all businesses are going to have the ability to do that kind of controlled study. They may not have enough locations. But, there are many different ways you can measure the success of the program, whether that's what percent of my membership is actually participating in the program, how many incremental referrals are we getting from the program, how many new people are trying personal training after they've redeemed that, discounted personal training reward. There's so many different ways you can measure it, and making sure you have agreement on those from the beginning with the executive team, I think is critical.
That is such a great insight. Thank you for sharing that example with us. And I think the point that you touched on in regards to, not all businesses will have the opportunity to compare location to location because they might not have that many different standalone locations. But the fact that we can test internally as well is a really important factor to that. So we finish off each of our shows, Chanel, with our Fitbispiration. So can you leave us today with your top 3 tips for launching a successful loyalty program?
Yeah. So, tip number 1 is to structure the program well. I think that's one thing we've learned the hard way is really critical, because if you don't structure the program well, meaning the point system, how many points do you get for certain activities, whether that's checking in or taking personal training, and then, what do the rewards cost? If you don't structure that well, it can hurt you in 2 ways. Number 1, you might make it too expensive. So people are redeeming and getting too much and it's costing you way too much money. Or you might make it too inexpensive and members realize, to get a t-shirt, it's going to take me 3 years and this is just not worth my time. And so they lose interest. So you really need to strike the right balance between, how much you give away and how long it takes to earn those rewards. And, we've come up with a point calculator to help with that process. But one way to think about it, if you launch a program, is to do some math on average, how long is it going to take for a member how many points are my customers going to earn every month? And then, let's say that's 50 points per month, for example, how much should my rewards cost? What's a reasonable time frame for my average member to redeem a free t-shirt, for example, or a free month, or a free pass for a friend, whatever that reward is, make sure it's reasonable in the member's mind. So that would be point number 1. Point number 2 would be make sure your staff is trained. Because a key thing, I think, is when people have questions about the program, you want to make sure that your staff is ready to answer those and they know the ins and outs of the program. We find that that's critical to its success and its adoption by the members. And then the last one is one that I mentioned before. Start simple, because you're going to want this program to be with you for several years, and you're going to want to continue getting value from it, whether that's improved retention or more referrals or increased spend. And so if you start simple and you can add those components over time, that's going to really help you keep that momentum and keep the value with the program.
Chanel, I have no doubts that we have a lot of the FBP family that are listening today that are totally intrigued and interested in exploring the idea of launching a loyalty program within their club. So if people want to reach out to you and they want to learn more about Perkville and what you offer, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
The best way is go to our website. We've got lots of great information there. We have a blog. We have a lot of information on our features at www.perkville.com.
Excellent. Nice and simple. Well, thank you so much. I love this topic. I love what it can actually deliver to our clubs and the benefits that it has for, as you said, that retention, referral and revenue for our business. So thank you for taking the time to join us on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.
MyZone is a wearable technology platform that leverages personal goal setting, gamification, and social platforms to motivate your members. To find out more, go to myzone.org.
Precore Quickfire 5.
This week's Precore Quickfire 5 guest is award-winning SEO copywriter and SEO consultant, Kate Toon. I am so excited to have you on the show, Kate. Welcome along. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Let's crack straight into the Precore Quickfire 5 and start off by telling us, why do you do what you do?
Because I love it, and because people want it, and because it makes me money.
And what's one ritual that helps you become better at what you do?
One ritual, I think, is going for a little walk every day with my dog and clearing my mind before I start my day.
That's one of my favorite rituals as well. And are there any apps or systems that you use to stay in control of your workload?
Yes, there are thousands, but the favorite ones I have are Slack and Asana and Xero and all of Google's wonderful apps and drives and things.
Oh, wow. I've got to tell you, Slack is one of the most popular answers that I get to that question. So lots of good working or work control tools in there. And are there any books, podcasts or blogs, and you're allowed to say your own, by the way, that you would recommend and why?
Yeah, so I have two podcasts, which are more than welcome to listen to. One's about SEO and one's about copywriting. I'm sure Chantal will include them in the show notes. But my favourite podcast is Reply All. I listen to that. I wait for the episodes desperately. It's very geeky, but very fun.
Oh, you're going to have to tell me. I haven't heard of it. So what is Reply All? What's the topic of that podcast?
It's digital. It's all things digital, but it's the oddities of digital. It's like the man who invented the pop-up window and the guilt that he feels for doing it, and you know why certain things happen on the internet, and funny explaining weird memes and stuff. So it's about the internet, I guess, but it's not technical. It's hard to describe. You just have to listen to it. It's very funny.
Okay, we will definitely grab the link and pop it in today's show notes, and just give us a really quick overview of the topic that we're going to be focusing on during your main interview.
We're going to be talking about the wonderful world of search engine optimization, how to make Google fall in love with your website and drive more traffic and conversions.
Yes, this is such an important topic for us, Kate, and it's one that we have not covered off on the show before. So we are so thrilled and so grateful for you taking the time to join us on the show. So that is our Precore Quickfire 5, and let's roll straight into the main interview. Thank you all so much for joining me for this week's show. A reminder that all the resources and the links for today's episode can be found at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Thank you to our foundation partner, Active Management. As a listener of the show, you have a special opportunity to work with JT. You can get one free session when you buy one coaching session. No matter where you are in the world, technology allows him to work with you. Go to activemgmt.com.au/FBP family and work with JT to get more people moving and moving more often. That's one free session when you buy one coaching session exclusively for you. Once again, go to activemgmt.com.au/FBP family. Thank you all so much for joining me today. And remember, what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into lives of others.